Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Nashtaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Chalakaya. Chakshudunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नित्य नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणि जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे okay 325:14 तमिमं ते प्रवक्ष्यामि यम् अवोचं पुराणघे ऋषीणां श्रोतुकामानां योगं सर्वाङ्गनैपुणम्. O most pious mother, I shall now explain unto you the ancient yoga system which I explained formally to the great sages. It is serviceable and practical, meaning it can be done in every way. The Lord does not manufacture a new system of yoga. Sometimes it is claimed that someone has become an incarnation of God and is expounding a new theological aspect of the absolute truth. But here we find that although Kapila Muni is the Lord himself and is capable of manufacturing a new doctrine for his mother, he nevertheless says, I shall just explain the ancient system which I once explained to the great sages, because they were also anxious to hear about it. The important point here is that we have to be anxious to hear. I see many devotees sitting in classes and dozing off. Right? If we don't have taste for hearing, then we can't make progress in Krishna consciousness. And Bhagavatam clearly, first canto, second chapter, explains what is the solution. What is the solution? Uh, by serving pure devotees, actually. If we serve pure devotees, then automatically we will develop a taste to hear. Mm. So, service to pure devotees is the key. If somebody doesn't have the taste, of course, service to pure devotees is always beneficial, but especially if you don't, if one doesn't have taste, then we have to somehow figure out way to serve pure devotees. So, and then one has to be really anxious to know. Anxious, why anxious? Not inquisitive. Anxious. Why should we be anxious? Any thoughts? Why should one be anxious to hear?
Because human life is very rare.
Human life is very rare. Time is going. Uh, we get stuck here. So many reasons. Right? So anxiety to get out, to perfect our life. When we have super excellent process already present in Vedic scriptures, there is no need to concoct a new system to mislead the innocent public. At present, it has become a fashion to reject the standard system and present something bogus in the name of a newly invented process of yoga. So we have to be very careful. Hmm. We should not reject Prabhupada's system. Simply accept Prabhupada's system. That is effective. There are various sections of ISKCON who say that Prabhupada's books are not consumable directly for new people. New people can't consume Prabhupada's books. Right? So we rejected standard system that Prabhupada gave. And then they present something. We can't say that it is bogus, but is just rejection of the standard system. Not required. It just works. Prabhupada's system just works. And all we need to do is simply follow the process. We don't have to invent something new. This inventing something new is like we think that we are better than Srila Prabhupada. So we should be clear. There's a standard system Prabhupada has given. By following that process, by reading his books, people have become devotees all over the world. How does it change suddenly? How is it that it suddenly that process stopped working? Or it doesn't work for some section of society? Nothing like that. It's just our lack of faith in Prabhupada's system. That's all. We don't have to invent anything new. चेतखल्वस्य बन्धाय मुक्तये चात्मनो मतं गुणेषु सक्तं बन्धाय रतं वा पुंसि मुक्तये. The stage in which the consciousness of the living entity is attracted by the three modes of material nature is called conditional life. But when the same consciousness is attached to the Supreme Person of Godhead, one is situated in the consciousness of liberation. So, as the soul, we already know that the presence of the soul is indicated by consciousness. So, consciousness is a mm, uh, if there is consciousness, then it shows that the soul is there. Now, when we are in this material world, our consciousness is contaminated. So, contaminated consciousness. In contaminated consciousness, one is attracted by the three modes of material nature. That is called conditional life. Contaminated consciousness. Pure consciousness is when we are attached to the Supreme Person of Godhead. So, between these two is the transition phase. Mm. So, some are totally attached to material modes of nature, some are totally attached to the Supreme Person of Godhead. Uh, and then all of us are somewhere in the middle, right? Different extents, attracted to material nature, attracted to Krishna. And the process is to move further away from being attracted to the modes of material nature and closer to being attached to the Supreme Person of God. There's a distinction here between Krishna consciousness and Maya consciousness. Guneshu or Maya consciousness involves attachment to the three modes of material nature, under which one sometimes and knowledge, sometimes in passion, and sometimes in ignorance. These different qualitative activities, meaning qualitative means under the qualities, under the modes of material nature, with a central attachment for material enjoyment, are the cause of one's condition of life. Material enjoyment, right? That is conditional life. When the same cheta or consciousness is transferred to the Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna, or when one becomes Krishna conscious, he is on the path of liberation. So that same cheta means consciousness, is transferred to the Supreme Person of Godhead. So the whole process is to change this consciousness from contaminated consciousness to pure consciousness. That's the whole process. And that is why everything that we do in bhakti is for this cleansing, purification, so that we move from material consciousness to pure consciousness. So following the system that has been given, so we should not do things which is going to increase material consciousness. That is pratikulyasya varjanam. So we have to give up those things which increase our contaminated consciousness. And many devotees actually they fail to recognize things that increase our material consciousness. So can Can we give some examples of things that actually increase our material consciousness? That we do maybe, unknowingly. We're just engaging in that day in, day out, but we're not able to clearly, like, it's not, we're not recognizing fact that it is actually increasing our material consciousness. Any examples?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Attachment with family,
Attachment to family, okay,
environment like this.
okay.
Taking non-prasadam, outside food.
Taking non-prasadam, okay, it increases material consciousness. What else? Very common thing today.
And
Most people.
Avoiding
associating
material,
prajalpa.
Prajalpa, yeah, talking about useless material things. Yeah, Pratyusha
mat-
Mataji.
material association, Prabhu. Those who are
Material
not very
association. Okay, okay. What else?
Reading mundane newspapers.
Reading mundane newspapers. Mobile phone. Mobile phone. Please be wary about this. This is the silent killer. Mobile phone is a silent killer for our age, for our time now, current. Mm. So it just kills any kind of spiritual consciousness. Guys, the other day I was somewhere and I was looking. One person was sitting in front of me, and he was doing what he was doing. He had his mobile phone on, and first he went to WhatsApp. Then he saw there were no messages. Then he's refreshing something, opening, closing, this, that, and all that. Then he went to Telegram. Then again, he's seeing no messages. Then he went to email. And in the email, then he saw one email ID, no messages. Then he went to another email ID. Then he, for temporarily, he switched off. Right. Then again, he opened his phone. Then he went to Facebook. Then he was browsing. Then after that, he went to Instagram. And then again, he temporarily switched off. Again, he opened. I mean, I was just sitting, I was waiting somewhere, and for 15 minutes, 15 minutes, I was observing this person. Continuously, he's on the phone. There's nothing. I mean, there's literally nothing on his phone. He's just opening, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing. And then mundane news, useless. What is there on Instagram or Facebook for a devotee? Absolutely nothing. Right? Mundane newspaper, websites, mundane news, all this useless, totally useless. Today, WhatsApp groups have also become like that. It's so much of prajalpa, so much of useless talk, literally. So we have to be very, very careful not to aggravate our material consciousness. We should not increase it. We're already stuck sufficiently. We should know this. We should not increase that. We're already tied by these ropes. We are now tightening those ropes. We're making those ropes stronger. So we have to be very, very careful. Like I said the other day, exercise. Do this exercise to see what are the things that are actually pulling you down, putting your consciousness down. Those are those are your major anarthas to overcome, which are between you and Krishna. So we have to do this. I do this constantly. I mean, literally every moment I can say every day, definitely. And I'm very clear in terms of these are the things that I need to work on. See, because otherwise we'll just close our eyes and blindly we'll just going on with life. Somebody yesterday was talking to one devotee, and there is this belief in a major section of ISKCON which feels that we should take bhakti lightly, as in easy, chill maro. Why you stress on all these, rules, regulations, doing this, doing that, not doing this, not doing that? Why all this? Just take it easy. Uh, One Mataji was saying, like, yeah, see, these people are so easygoing. We can do anything. No rules, no regulations. Nobody sitting on our head saying that do this, do that. So it's so easy, it's so nice. What they're not able to understand is that anything like this is simply going to increase material consciousness. That's all. Taking it easy. Okay, take it easy, fine. And do whatever you want. Do Prajalpa, go do this, go and get material association, mobile, this, that, and all. Do all that. What is going to happen? We're not going to reach our goal. We're going to be stuck here. If that's what we want, then why bother at all? If you want to just be stuck, why bother doing bhakti and all this? You can just get stuck, no? There are 150 ways, thousands of ways to get stuck. And the presence of rules, regulations is actually to help us reduce the material consciousness, not to increase it. So lack of rules means naturally there'll be more material consciousness. And that Mataji was like very upset, saying that, I am not able to follow all these rules. It's fine. I mean, if you're not able to follow rules, that's not a disqualification. All of us, it's not like we are all able to follow rules, but we should at least know that these rules are required. Yeah, I might not be able to follow it today. That doesn't mean that the rule is wrong. It's fine. I'll take my time to come to that stage. But at least we should know that this is good for me. This is required for me. Right? If we don't talk about all this, thousands of people comment here. If we talk about all this, yeah, we'll have a handful of people hearing. Because they don't want to hear what Prabhupada is saying. They want to hear stories. They want to hear nice things. They want to hear emotional things, like that touches heart. Good, goodness, mode of goodness. They want to hear things in the mode of goodness, social welfare work and be nice to others, smile at others. Absolutely. I mean, it's not like we're not saying that we should not smile at others or we should. But this doesn't mean that we don't follow rules and regulations. So we have to understand, there's so much of dilution, and I mean, what really hurts me is people have not read Prabhupada's books, and because people have not read Prabhupada's books before coming to, that is why I keep, pushing people saying that please read Prabhupada's books. Don't think about initiation before that. Don't think about initiation before that. Because if you don't read Prabhupada's books, you don't even know in what mood you want to practice. Because once you are clear what your mood is, then you can see, okay, who is the guru, what is the mood I want to follow, that guru, that mood has to align with that guru, etc., etc. So then things become much clearer. And the idea is not this guru or that guru, right? The idea is the guru who will align with whom I can align, right? So we have to read Prabhupada's books first. That has always been the process, but unfortunately today, people are just in a hurry to get initiated without actually first reading Prabhupada, without then knowing what is the mood of the possible potential spiritual master from whom I want to take initiation. So there's no alignment at all. Absolutely no alignment, right? Because there's no Shravanam. And then everything goes downhill, right? Like everything is just becomes casual. Take it easy. Because that's what everybody will say around us. Take it easy. Why are you stressing yourself out? Krishna consciousness is supposed to be happy. Uh, and when does that chant and be happy actually happen? When will that be happy actually happen? What is this happiness? When Prabhupada said chant and be happy, what is that happiness?
Spiritual happiness, bro.
Spiritual happiness, not material happiness. And Bhagavatam says when actually one comes to the stage of happiness, when ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Right? So when we do ahaituki apratihata bhakti, pure devotional service, uninterrupted, unmotivated, that is when we come to real happiness, not material happiness. Right? So today we think I'm chanting, things are all comfortable around me, I'm happy. So chanting is working. So we have to be careful about this. We have to be careful. Don't read Prabhupada's books, understand the mood, understand the message. Then decide your association, decide your initiation, etc., etc. That's the approach. That's what is recommended. It's okay. It's not that everybody has the same mood, right? Different people have different moods. It's fine. It's not like only one, this is the mood. Otherwise, there is, you're like fallen. No, nothing like that. Different people have different moods. Alignment has to happen. Okay. Aham mamabhimanotthaihi kamalobadhibirmalaihi vitam yada manah shuddham adhukkam asukham samam adukkam asukham samam. When one is completely cleansed of the impurities of lust and greed. Very powerful statements. When one is completely cleansed of the impurities of lust and greed produced from false identity body as I and my naham, one's mind becomes purified. So when does the mind become purified? When we are completely impurities of lust and greed are produced from false identification of the body as I and mine. Right? So when we are in this consciousness of aham mama, then we develop lust and greed. Because then we want to get things, we want to this, that, so everything, aham mama, right? With respect to material life, I want to achieve this, I want to procure this, etc., etc., lust and greed. When does the mind become purified? Is when one is completely cleansed of these impurities. In that pure state, he transcends the stage of so-called material happiness and distress. So this is Brahma Bhuta. So we have to transcend this stage of so-called material happiness, distress. So-called, because really there is nothing like happiness. Right? And when can we actually transcend? When we are in the pure state. When will we be in the pure state? When we are not engaged in activities of lust and greed. When do we engage in activities of lust and greed? When we are in the consciousness of aham and mama. So see the beautiful connection. Aham mama consciousness results in lust and greed. Lust and greed means mind is contaminated. So one becomes free from lust and greed, which means one becomes free from aham mama, then mind becomes purified. In that pure state, then we are not affected by this so-called material happiness and distress. Kama and lobha are the symptoms of material existence. Everyone always desires to possess something. It is said here that the desire and greed are the products of false identification of oneself with the body. When one becomes free from this contamination, then his mind and consciousness also become freed and attain their original state. So we have to become free from this contamination of identifying ourselves with the body. And then we will not have material lust and greed. Then our mind becomes purified. Mind, consciousness, and living entity. Whenever we speak of the living entity, this includes the mind and consciousness. And the difference between conditional life and liberated life occurs when we purify the mind and the consciousness. When they're purified, one becomes transcendental to material happiness and distress. It's a simple thing, right? Mind becomes purified, consciousness becomes purified, then we transcend material happiness and distress. So what is preventing our mind from becoming purified? Is lust and greed, kama and lobha. Why is there kama and lobha? Because of aham mama, misidentification, ignorance. In the beginning, Lord Kapila has said that perfect yoga enables one to transcend the platform of material distress and happiness. How this can be done is explained here. One has to purify his mind and consciousness. So yoga, in everything that we do, actually, yeah, every activity we do, should only be for purification. This can be done by the Bhakti Yoga system. As explained in the Narada Pancharatra, one's mind and senses should be purified. Tat paratvena nirmalam. Rishikena rishikesha sevanam. How do we purify? One's senses must be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. That is the process. The mind must have some engagement. One cannot make the mind vacant. Of course, there's some foolish attempts to try to make the mind vacant or void, but that's not possible. The only process that will purify the mind is to engage it in Krishna. We have to engage it in Krishna. The word engage is very, very important. The mind must be engaged. We engage our mind in Krishna, naturally consciousness becomes fully purified. And there's no chance of the entrance of material desire and greed. So we have to engage. How do we engage our mind in Krishna? How do we engage our mind in Krishna in such a way that there's no chance of material desire and greed entering? How should we engage? What should we do?
Shravanam and Kirtanam.
Shravanam and Kirtanam, but for how much time will we do Shravanam Kirtanam? Practically.
Krishna says, "Prabhu, manmana bhav."
No, that is
But
fine. I'm asking how. I'm asking how do we do that?
yeah, that is
How do we engage
practically
our
hard.
mind in Krishna? See, every time you're reading Prabhupada's books, please don't take statements for granted. We should not assume that I understand what it is to engage my mind in Krishna. We don't understand. If we had understood that, then we would not be stuck. Right? And we should agree that all of us are stuck. So how do we engage our mind? Any solutions?
Engaging in either of the 9 processes of bhakti, like
The
Shravanam,
same thing,
Kirtanam,
Shravanam,
Gita.
Kirtanam, but how much time will we engage?
Okay, like Vismartya na Jatuchit, like not forgetting Krishna for a
But
moment.
that's all theoretical, Mataji. Tell me practical. Give me practical solutions.
Service only.
What service?
Service and devotional service.
What service can we do with the mind? This is mind engaging in Krishna, right? Not body.
Chanting.
Chanting, is our mind really thinking about Krishna, focusing on Krishna when we are chanting? Yeah, keeping Krishna center. How? Krishna Prabhu, I'm asking how? What should we do? Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya for how long?
So,
Meditating
Prabhu, I
on the
was
transcendental form and glories. Prabhu.
Huh?
Meditating on the form and glories. of-
Meditating. How many of us are meditating on Krishna's form and glories? Where do we have the time? We have to give practical answers that if whatever solutions you are giving, all of you should be able to follow and you should be able to engage your mind in Krishna. Right? That's the question.
so Prabhu, I was reading one word, Sangam Tatva, Vyavastha Parikalna. So,
Sorry?
when I was reading one verse, practically, yeah, you do. Krishna is saying you work, but you Don't be attached to the result of it.
No, but how are we going to engage mind in Krishna? I'm asking a simple question.
Mhm.
I'm asking a very simple question. How do we engage our mind in Krishna? Okay, let me ask in different way. How do we engage our mind in any material activity?
Through senses, Prabhu.
Yeah, okay, through senses. That's fine. But what do we do? For example, okay, let me make it even more slightly graphical, right? Suppose there is a marriage in the house. How does your mind get engaged in that now?
Always thinking about doing things related
You're
to
always thinking, okay, marriage is happening. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do 50 things. Then you're planning, then you are seeing, okay, I have to do budget planning, I have to call these people, then caterer, then marriage hall, then this, then that. You have 150 things on your head. Like you don't have time, you don't have space to think about anything else. Right? Now give me the answer. Now tell me, how do we engage our mind in Krishna?
So engaging our eyes in seeing Krishna and
अरे बाबा ये क्या अभी marriage I gave you marriage example, right? Marriage में what are you doing? Are we sitting and looking at the ornaments and or the saris that we bought, or are we going and sitting? I mean, like practical.
doing things. In fact.
Practical. I mean, see, Prabhupada gave us practicality. Tell me something which is practical. Why all solutions are just very theoretical, right? I mean, these theoretical things we can't do, right? Are we able to do any of this? If you're able to do, you should tell me also that yes, I am able to do. I'm able to meditate on the transcendental form of Krishna. Then that's good. I will also learn.
What Prabhupada said is like chant and then do Mangalarti and then read books and then preach to people.
Okay.
Cook and offer food to Krishna and eat. That's what Jim was.
Okay.
Prabhuji, feeling anxiety for Krishna that we are not able to.
Anxiety, okay. Planning to do sadhana properly, okay. No. Engage mind. I just gave you the example of a marriage function. When you're preparing for some function like this, is your mind engaged 24 hours in that or not? It is, right? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes, right? So give me an equivalent in Krishna consciousness. That will
Like
engage our mind in Krishna.
Like this, you have to plan what I will cook for Krishna, how I'll decorate Krishna, how I'll clean puja room,
Okay.
like this you have to think.
Yeah,
And I
but
have
then how do you claim how much time will you do that? You'll do till you do your aarti, etc. After that, what is the main activity of ISKCON?
preaching,
Yes.
book distribution.
These two is what we need to have. This has to be the central theme of our life. If the central theme of our life is preaching and book distribution, then automatically the mind is engaged. Isn't it? Is it easy to preach? Is it easy to do book distribution? See, we are at our home, we have okay, altar, puja, okay, whatever, okay, cleaning, weaning, kar diya. I mean, but it's not taxing us. It's not taxing our brains. Right? It's fine. I mean, I know I do to whatever extent I can do, I'll do, and that's all, right? Over, done. But when you start thinking about preaching and book distribution, then you're like, yesterday, day before, I was at Meenakshi Mall. Nobody took books, right? And then mind should get agitated. How am I going to distribute books? Preaching. Oh, okay, we have this program every Sunday. Why people are not coming back again and again? Why some people have come and left? What should I do? Because there are no solutions for this. There are no ready solutions for this. See, Prabhupada wanted the central theme of ISKCON is main thing previously was just book distribution and thereby preaching. Right? So preaching, book distribution, if we are engaged, then automatically our mind is engaged in Krishna. See, we have not reached that stage where we can speak about thinking about the meditating on the transcendental form of Krishna. Yes, this is where we have to get. But we are not in that pure state. Only in the pure state can we think about all this. Today, if we simply sit idle, maybe 150 material thoughts will come into our heads, right? So we have to engage in missionary activities. That is the key. If you are engaged in missionary activities, then automatically mind will be engaged in Krishna. Of course, for many Matajis, maybe they have their hands full with their own, house responsibilities, etc. Which is okay because as long as you are looking at your house as temple and people in the house are devotees and you're engaged in serving them and you're meditating on that, yeah, it is indirectly serving Krishna, right? But for men, for example, right? I mean, or for that matter, anybody who is working, um, it just pulls your consciousness down because um, I mean, it just drags it down because you're actually not doing anything really for Krishna, right? Because even the money that comes, only some part of it we are giving for Krishna. So it's super contamination, right? And in the middle of that contamination, something that has to pull us out of that absorption means it has to be like really something difficult, something that we have to put our effort, something for which we have to beg for mercy, and that is preaching and book distribution. So if we are in the comforts of our house, we go to of course we whatever today work from home, go to office, whatever it is, and then we will just be in material consciousness because we don't have anything really serious to engage our mind in Krishna. So being missionary is what is going to engage our mind in Krishna. Do you all agree? What do you think?
Yes, bro.
Hmm? So is this more powerful than other solutions that we discussed? Right? See, I'm asking this because unless we get to this, we're not going to become purified. It must be on top of our mind all the time. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? How do I preach? Right? And of course, preaching means various things, right? But just that desire to give Krishna consciousness to others, that has to be there. That is when our mind will get engaged in Krishna. When Krishna says man mana bhava mad bhakto, that mind has to get engaged in Krishna. And body is engaged in Krishna. When we do archana, when we do temple cleaning, etc., body is engaged. But what about mind? Body might be engaged in service, mind is still engaged in Maya. So to engage mind in Krishna means we need something really heavy. That we need to have missionary orientation. We need to have big projects. Right? That's when mind will get naturally pulled. Any thoughts? What do you all think?
But we
Hmm.
don't know that
Huh?
much knowledge about that how we'll preach. We are not
Yeah.
reading. That's why I don't have data. If any question will come, anything will come, then we
Yeah, so
can
read, no?
open them.
So read.
Yeah, that is the solution. Yeah.
Read. I mean, see, reading, even for book distribution, you have to read. Right? Even for preaching, you have to read. That's why I said without reading, we cannot make progress in Krishna consciousness. Because yes, like you pointed out rightly, if we don't read, then we don't get the inspiration to preach. We don't get the inspiration to distribute books because we are like worried. Oh, if somebody asks some question, what will I answer? Right? So because we are not reading, then we'll say, okay, I will not engage in preaching, I'll not engage in book distribution. That means that we will never get engaged in Krishna. As much as this absorption is at a next level altogether. So please read, right? And for people here, if you want to preach and you want some help, I'm happy to assist in whatever way. Right? But engage yourself in something missionary for Krishna. That's the solution. That's when the mind will get engaged. Otherwise, mind will always be engaged in material things. Always. And it's all related to aham mama. All the time. Okay? That okay? Stop. Okay. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय हरे कृष्ण